Welcome back to the deep dive. We dig into the sources so you get the key info you need fast. Today, we're tackling something pretty huge: how to manage those really big, messy feelings inside. Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Have you ever felt like your emotions were just, I don't know, too strong or confusing? Like maybe anger or sadness just hits you and suddenly is driving the bus and you're kind of stuck in the back, just holding on?
Oh, absolutely. That's a really common feeling, especially as things get more complex in life. And that's why this is such a crucial deep dive today. We've looked at sources designed to give you like real practical skills for managing emotions. Our goal here is pretty clear. We want to help you recognize, understand, and maybe most importantly, get some control over those hard feelings,
Yeah.
instead of letting them just take over.
Exactly. We're not just talking about feelings, we're aiming for real emotional strength, giving you the tools, almost like a professional toolkit, to shift from those emotional explosions
Right.
to more like intentional emotional regulation.
And what's really interesting, I think, is that we're treating this just like learning any other skill, like coding or maybe getting good at a sport. It's a skill set you can build.
Yeah.
And the first step, understanding the landscape, knowing what you're dealing with.
Okay, so let's map out that emotional landscape. The sources point out something interesting. As you grow up, your world gets bigger, more complicated. And emotions, well, they often feel stronger, maybe more confusing than they used to. Things like frustration, sadness, anxiety, anger. They suddenly seem to have like way more weight.
That's definitely true. And it's not just you imagining it. As we get older, the social stakes feel higher, right? You're dealing with friendships, maybe think about the future, figuring out who you are. It's a lot. And these feelings themselves, anger, sadness, fear, they're totally normal. They're actually information, signals from your brain.
Right, signals. But, and this is the really key part we're digging into today, it's how you respond to those signals. That's what makes the difference. That response affects, well, everything. Your friendships, how you feel about yourself, your reputation even.
Exactly. The feeling itself isn't the problem. It's the reaction that you can actually learn to manage. So maybe just take a second to think about this. Why do emotions seem to get stronger as life gets more complex? Part of it is probably, the things happening feel like they matter more. The consequences seem bigger.
And when those big emotions flare up, they usually don't just appear out of thin air, right? There's often something specific that sets them off. The sources call this a trigger. It could be an event, maybe something someone says, or even just the thought that keeps popping up. It's like a little tripwire that sparks that big emotional reaction.
Yeah, a tripwire. That's a good way to put it.
And the examples from the sources are things I think everyone can relate to. Maybe scrolling online and seeing something mean someone posted about you. Ugh.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Or bombing a test you stayed up all night studying for, that feeling of unfairness.
Definitely. Or just feeling totally left out by your friends. That hurts.
Worrying about the future, too. That can be a huge internal trigger.
Recognizing those specific triggers is really step one. But it's also helpful to look a little deeper. Often, the trigger on the surface, like the bad test grade, connects to something deeper. Maybe a fear of not being good enough or a feeling of not being safe or accepted.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. The trigger is just what pokes that deeper feeling. So here's where it gets really interesting. Take a moment and think. What kinds of situations tend to set you off? What gets those really strong emotions going for you? Is it feeling criticized, feeling ignored, powerless? Knowing the root of your trigger, not just the surface event, that's like getting the cheat codes to disarming it.
Okay, so we know triggers happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about what often happens next, which is not always helpful. Let's call it the unhelpful detour.
Mm-hmm.
When that trigger hits, sometimes our thinking brain just gets like bypassed. We jump straight to a reaction.
A gut reaction.
Exactly. And the sources list some common ones. Yelling, maybe even hitting something or someone, though hopefully not. Or, and this is a big one now, firing off an angry text or online post without thinking.
Oh yeah, the keyboard warrior moment. Regret usually follows.
Usually. Or just shutting down completely, pulling away, ignoring everyone. That's another common one.
And let's be real for a second. Why do we do these things? Because sometimes they feel good, for a split second anyway. Yelling might feel like a release, hiding might feel safe. You get that little rush.
That's the trap, isn't it? That temporary relief. It feels like it's helping in the moment, but the sources are really clear. These kinds of reactions almost always make the situation worse in the long run. They damage relationships, they don't solve the actual problem, and they often leave you feeling kind of worse afterwards.
Right. So here's a thought exercise, but let's focus on the learning part, not just feeling bad about it. Think about a reaction you kind of regret. What happened? But More importantly, what specific lesson did you actually learn from it? What could you do differently next time? Focusing on that lesson learned, that's how you grow, instead of just repeating the same mistakes.
Well said. Okay, so if those reactions don't work, what does? How do we replace those explosions with something better?
Yeah, let's get into the toolkit. This is about swapping that knee-jerk reaction for a thought-out strategy. Healthy coping, emotional regulation.
We need tools that can kind of interrupt that emotional surge, things that give your thinking brain a chance to catch up, and tools that help your body physically calm down.
So what are some of these tools?
Well, the sources mention several really practical ones. First up, the classic, slow, deep breaths, but like really focusing on them. Second, literally just pausing, taking a beat before you say anything, or especially before you type anything. That pause is crucial.
Okay. Breathe, pause. What else?
Constructive expression, like getting the feelings out safely, journaling, drawing, maybe even writing song lyrics or poetry, whatever works for you.
Talking to someone helps too, right? Someone who actually listens without judging.
Hugely important. Connection is key. And another big one is physical activity.
Ah, right. Moving your body.
Yeah, using that energy. When you're angry or anxious, your body is flooded with energy, basically preparing you to fight or run away. Instead of using that energy to yell, use it to, I don't know, go for a run, do push-ups, dance around your room, burn it off safely.
That makes sense. It releases the physical tension without causing more problems.
Exactly. Now let's zoom in on one specific technique the sources highlight. It's called the 3-4-5 reset breathing technique. It's simple, but powerful.
Okay, 3, 4, 5. How does that work?
It's structured breathing. You breathe in slowly for a count of 3 seconds, then you hold your breath gently for 4 seconds, and then this is the really important part, you breathe out slowly for 5 seconds. A long, slow exhale.
In for 3, hold for 4, out for 5. Why the long exhale?
That long exhale is what triggers your body's relaxation response. It stimulates something called the vagus nerve, which basically tells your brain, okay, calm down, the danger is past. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system.
So you're kind of manually overriding the stress response with your breath.
You got it. And the sources say doing this just 3 to 5 times is often enough to get back a little bit of calm, enough to think clearly again.
Wow, okay, that seems doable. When could you use this? Like in real life?
Oh, anywhere, really. Before a test you're nervous about.
Right before you have a difficult conversation with someone?
Perfect example.
Ah,
Or if you're just feeling overwhelmed by homework or chores, waiting for results for something.
it's like having a little reset button you can press anytime.
Exactly. Okay, so we have these tools. Let's see how they work in action. The sources give a really good scenario. Imagine you're working on a big group project, right? And suddenly you get blamed for missing a deadline. Something you know wasn't your fault.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I can picture that. The immediate feeling. Probably anger, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
feeling totally unfairly treated.
Totally. That sense of injustice can be really strong.
And the impulse reaction, probably to fire back, right? No way, it was your fault. Get defensive, maybe start yelling.
That's the impulse. But using our toolkit, the strategic action plan looks different. Step 1,
Breathe. Do the 3, 4, 5 thing.
yes. Use that reset button. Give yourself a few seconds. Step 2, pause and think. Ask yourself, what's my goal here? Is the goal to win the argument? Or is it to clear your name and maybe keep the group working together?
Okay, good point. Goal is probably clearing your name without making things worse.
Right. So then step 3, calmly explain your side of the story.
Okay, but that seems tricky. How do you explain your side, like assertively defend yourself without it just turning into a fight? How do you stay calm and make your point?
Great question. This is where communication skills come in. One really useful technique is using I statements.
I statements, what are those?
Instead of blaming or accusing the other person, using you statements like, you didn't listen or you messed up, you focus on your own experience and feelings.
Okay, so how would that sound in the project scenario? Instead of, you wrongly blamed me.
You might say something like, okay, I understand everyone's frustrated about the deadline. Acknowledge the feeling first. Then, I felt surprised when I heard I was being blamed because I submitted my part on Tuesday. I have the email confirmation, sticking to facts. And then maybe I feel upset about this, and I think we need to look at the timeline together to see what actually happened.
Ah, okay, so you're stating facts, using I, explaining your feeling, but not attacking them.
Exactly. You're being assertive, standing up for yourself, but respectfully. It shows strength, not aggression, and is much more likely to actually get heard.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so applying these strategies works, which leads us to the next part. Making your own plan. This can't just be generic advice, right? It needs to be personal, building your own coping plan.
Precisely. It needs to be customized to your triggers and your feelings. The sources suggest a simple framework, like mapping it out. You identify the feeling, the specific trigger that usually causes it for you, and then you plan your best response in advance.
Like pre-planning your strategy. Got it. Can you give some examples?
Sure, let's say the feeling is intense anger. And for you, the common trigger is a friend spreading a rumor about you. The impulsive response might be a public takedown online. But the planned learned, though. Best response, take deep breaths, maybe vent in a journal first, and then plan to talk to the friend privately later when you're calm.
Okay, that's a good one. What about stress?
Right. Feeling, overwhelmed, stressed, trigger. Maybe having way too many assignments due at once. The best response isn't emotional here, it's practical. Break the work down into tiny, manageable steps. Make a list. Do just one small thing.
Okay, and maybe sadness.
Yeah. Feeling. Really sad. Trigger.
Huh.
Missing out on a fun event everyone else went to. Instead of just wallowing or getting angry about it, the best response might be self-care focused. Listen to music that comforts you, or call a supportive friend just to talk about feeling bummed out.
So you're basically becoming like a scientist of your own emotions, identifying patterns, predicting reactions, and designing better outcomes.
That's a great way to put it. You're mapping your internal world. And part of that mapping is reflection. After a tough situation, look back. Not to judge yourself, but just to gather data. What triggered the feeling? What did you do? What worked? What didn't? Use that info to update your personal plan for next time. It's a learning process.
Okay, so tying this all together, the big picture here isn't about not feeling things, right?
Absolutely not. Emotions are important. They give us information. The goal is building emotional strength,
Right.
resilience, the ability to handle that information effectively without letting it derail you.
You're basically getting tools to navigate the world more powerfully, more intentionally. Less reacting, more responding.
Well put.
So let's just quickly recap the core steps one last time. When you feel that heat rising, first, pause. Just stop for a second. Second, breathe. Use that 3-4-5 technique or just some slow, deep breaths. Third, express constructively. Get it out safely. Journal, draw, move. Fourth, communicate respectfully. Use those I statements if you need to talk to someone. Pause, breathe, express, communicate.
That's the foundation right there.
Okay, we're going to wrap up with a powerful affirmation, something positive to hold on to straight from the sources. Maybe just say this quietly to yourself. I can face hard emotions with calm, awareness, and control.
Nice. And here's our challenge for you listening this week. Just try it. Pick one strategy we talked about. Maybe it's just the 3-4-5 breathing. And commit to using it the very next time you feel stressed or angry or upset.
Yeah, just once. And then notice what happens. Pay attention. Did pausing and breathing change the outcome even a little bit? How does knowing you have that bit of control over your reaction change how you feel about facing tough situations in the future?
That feeling of control, that's real power.
Yeah.
Okay, that's our deep dive on managing hard feelings today. We really hope this toolkit gives you some concrete things you can try right away.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time, stay well and stay curious.